it's hot. It's hot and sweaty. Now that's good when you're in a sauna, but not when there are 5 of you crammed into a studio that's just big enough for a red bucket, a blue bucket, some cleaning chemicals, and a Mr. Dusty with a pickaxe buried in its speech module. We have just about removed most of the heads from the unwanted armpits. No one knows who made the smell, but we've all agreed that none of us will have onion badges for lunch on Newsday again. Juan has checked that everyone heard his sit in my knee and will talk about the first thing that pops up joke, and tried to stop his moustache drooping in the humid atmosphere. Harry Balzac has used the heatwave to justify another outing for his shorts. His short shots. His 2 short shots. And has spent the last 2 hours dropping his pencil and picking it back up again. Flossy has on her big sun hat, the one with the wide brim that takes up most of the room and blocks out the light from the 20-watt fire glow bulb. The apology officer has clearly gone mad in the heat and is shouting and gesticulating randomly. Oh wait, turns out they're just Scottish. False alarm. Amelia, we assume it's Amelia, sits in the corner with her head inside a small fridge, which Nurse Wyeth usually uses to store medical samples in. A few vessels lie scattered and leaking. Ah, that's where the smell came from. There is a visitor from Dockers lying prone in the corner, and it may be difficult to understand, but he's actually bringing the tone down. The door opens with a gust of beautiful cool air from the corridor. A large bearded gentleman in a Hawaiian shirt, shorts and flip-flops pokes his head round the door. He takes a bite from a decadent-looking ice lolly and says,
"Our mics are live."
No, look at you lot, just lying around semi-conscious all day doing nothing, just because our orbit has decayed and we're a bit closer to Proxima than usual. Come on, it's sunny outside. I'm Harry Balzac, and oh bother, where's my pencil? Oh, there it is.
Oh, God! Oh, look at it! Oh, no! Oh, gee! Oh, make it go away!
No.
Make it go away!
Oh, get off! I'm Wilma Fingerdo and I'm putting my head back in the fridge.
Hey! Who's poking me? I'm Mia Harkness, and I can't apologise enough for what we all just saw.
You're standing on my favourite gonad. I'm Wayne Kerr, and I can lick my own elbow.
Oi, that's not your elbow. No, stop it, or you'll get a panning. I'm Norma Snookers.
That's okay. I quite like it. If you're worried about unexpected movements, why don't you ask Deadmeat for help? I hear he's got a big hauler, and is always willing to give you a tug in the right direction. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment whilst I get a little more comfortable. Do some headlines or something.
Oh, God. Someone's made lung trip for nothing.
The loneliness of the long-distance mugger.
Commander Veronica has been watching her weight.
And talking of careful landings,
Hope springs eternal.
Pew, pew, hullabaloo, comfort, quibble, blub.
and now for something completely different. It's the BGS.
From Eden, this time, events, dear boy, events.
It seems that someone has been pulling Dr. Maidling's plonker. And that's not only an awkward thing to do in public, but it's a downright dangerous thing to do to a man wearing a spacesuit on a planet with no atmosphere. Bring the FTM Ishfahan, they said. Have some laughs, explore an Earth-like world, they said. So good old Eros, I've just noticed that soar backwards. That explains a lot. Took his fleet carrier and started exploring this Earth-like. Hang on, I hear you say. And I would do if that's how radio worked. Surely we can't land in Earth-likes at the moment. Something to do with glide mode being just a made-up name, and there's no way those silly wings in the Type 9 would work on a planet with a decent amount of atmosphere. And yeah, what about Thunderbird 2? It had wires to keep it in the air, for goodness sake. Well, this is where it gets interesting. In a sort of reverse Capricorn 1 situation, Dr. Maidling's passengers kept insisting that they had landed on an Earth-like. Just look at the grass, they said. Saying the reason for keeping your spacesuit on was because of the smell, since farmers had just finished muck spreading on those huge fields you can see, stretching out as far as the horizon in every direction. Eager to discover what bounties lay in store, and really a man with several degrees in particle physics should be able to tell when he's being conned, even through the visor of a spacesuit. Eros was last seen striding out, saying he'll be back as soon as he's been to the shops and top up with milk, baby wipes, well, those suits can really chafe after a while, and something for tea. Concerns were raised when his figure, stark against the dying light of however many suns this world has, was seen to remove his helmet to wipe his brow and then immediately disappeared behind the hill, just like a plane does in a movie before it explodes. We're sure that he's okay though, and if there was a problem, we're sure that he'd have found an old probe from when the planet was mapped and use it to show us he's in trouble. So meanwhile, put the kettle on, we're just waiting for that milk.
Cast your minds back to the GIMP run of 3303. That's the Galactic Intrepid Mug Proliferation Project, where many of us took mugs to all of the important parts of the galaxy and took a selfie in front of Sagittarius star with a container of mugs slowly spinning towards the black hole. Well, Commander Genix, in what seems to be an homage to that mighty voyage, has been throwing mugs away. In a good cause, of course. He sent one container to follow its forebears, no, not like Goldilocks, as a veritable poke in the god-sized eye that is the gravity lens at the centre of the galaxy, but has followed it with another mug overboard at the bottom of the galaxy. If a galaxy can be said to have a top, bottom, left or right, look, let's just say that in the way it's normally displayed, for those of us who always approach other ships in the same orientation or turn the map as we follow a route, or just prefer to think of it as imposing some order on a random, unchaotic universe, it's due south. As far as you can go before you reach the intergalactic void lies Livingston Point, more prosaically known as Hipuai Ecu Psi SD30. Here, Genix created his space jetsam and sent the mugs onwards where no frameshift drive energies will warm their contents, no trucker will gaze wistfully at their simple yet elegant design, and no drinker of Hutton blend coffee will be able to complete the best pairing of hot stuff and a shapely container since Aisling Duval won the last insert personal pronoun here Galaxy competition. The mugs will continue their journey alone, but not unloved, tumbling forever. Or until the container's integrity fails, which should be about 5 minutes. Oh well.
Commander Veronica has found a planet that has to be everyone's vacation dream spot. Imagine a planet where you really don't need to worry if people think you're lazy if you just lie there, and no one is going to come along and put a towel on the sun loungers in the early morning. You'll just lie there, because with a surface gravity of 45G, yes, that's right, 40 stonking 5 times the gravity on Earth, it'll be amazing if you can draw breath, let alone move. You wouldn't need to worry about sun lounger procedures because A, what did I just say about being able to move? And B, even if you could, the planet has an average temperature of 3700 Kelvin. And that's hot enough to melt the steel frame in an instant and make the fabric go up with a whoosh like magician's flash paper. You wouldn't need to blow up rocks to find minerals. Just use a cup, assuming you can find one that doesn't melt, that is. The planetary database notes that the planet is not terraformable. This we have filed in the same drawer as the response that Dr. Watson would give if his detective companion asked if he was still suffering from constipation. So, what can you do on this planet? KDI 17011, count yourself flaming lucky if you manage to land in one piece, that's what. No point in trying to step foot outside your ship. Did I mention the gravity? And do make sure your ship is in good condition before attempting to land, as a drop from any height will make your shields flare brightly, the hull integrity percentage fall quicker than a cryptocurrency on a unfounded rumour, and your sphincter tighten fast enough to make a noise that can be heard half a mile away. We understand that Shay Blackwood was heard to say, "Hold my beer," before checking that the tyres were correctly inflated on his racing SRV as he disappeared in the direction of the inner Orion Spur. The Speed Bowl merchants have already managed to try at least part of their usual technique, that of head towards a planet as fast as possible, but they seem to have stopped short of the bit that goes and miss. Still, with all that gravity, the debris should all be in one small flat pile. Several pilots have managed to land in one piece. It seems inching down slowly using FA off for short bursts is a good technique. They've reported so far that, that far from being completely squashed in a little puddle in the boots of their flight suit, they've managed to stay conscious and move around their SRV unexpectedly freely. Speculation is rife that this 45G is not a natural phenomenon, and that a mad scientist, let's give him a random nom de guerre of Dav, might actually have hollowed out the planet and is experimenting with some kind of artificial gravity ray, thus making your ship think that there's 45G as it descends and obviously ruining the calibration of the meter. But that's the natural gravity of the planet is closer to 10G. Still high enough gravity to greatly increase poundage, which explains the 5-year waiting list for your local branch of Weight Watchers. We'll bring you more news on this mystery as it unfolds. Slowly.
Commander Boss Lady, known to many as Boss Lady B, friend of Hutton. After all, one of her systems is the location of Trucker's Folly, the retirement home for old and knackered truckers. Anyway, Boss Lady B is no stranger to the odd planetary landing and was witness to a very strange attempt by her ship's AI to come and collect her. The emphasis here is on artificial, not intelligence. Now, it's well known that everyone loves Commander Boss Lady, and this was amply demonstrated as, whilst minding her own business, B, as we like to call her, was just waiting patiently in her SRV, expecting a routine touchdown and swift departure from the surface of the snappily entitled CIFA QD-S D4-9 A5D in front of a large flat area when her ship decided to go all new puppy on her, rolling around the floor, jumping up, doing backflips, really a sight to behold, and it's quite funny to watch, as it always is if it's someone else's ship. We see from the footage that B tried desperately to do something with her lovesick craft. She obviously knew it would break its heart if she dismissed it, so instead she appears to have tried to do the equivalent of a there, who's a good boy pat by doing something unfathomable with her energy link, pointing at the ship as if to say, "I've got a treat for you." Anyway, all to no avail. Her ship, getting more and more overexcited, did the full Mr. Creosote and exploded all over the landscape, leaving the boss lady all alone on the surface of an alien planet, with nothing but a faintly whiffy Artemis suit, the memory of a faint cry of tortured metal, and a feeling of slight embarrassment, mostly from waving an energy link around to no effect. as Boss Lady stared up at the faint glint of starlight reflected from her fleet carrier as it orbited so far above that it might as well be in the next galaxy. Commander Sidewinder 40 gallantly came to the rescue, and our heroine has returned to her fleet carrier, from where she immediately sent an insurance claim to the Pilots Federation because, well, it wasn't her fault.
It's been a lean time recently for commanders who are adventurous pioneers and like to stretch the boundaries of intrepidness by turning up at a site and just snaffling whatever's lying around. Yes, pilots have been complaining that the abandoned station, Dav's Hope, has been, well, abandoned. It seems that the material fairies that spend all their time gathering stuff and then storing it at Dav's Hope, presumably so that they can do something useful with it later on, seem to have got disheartened by finding that their hard work was all for naught, as her hard-earned materials just seem to vanish, with nothing but a rapidly fading high-wake signature. Pilots have been up in arms, claiming that free stuff is their basic human right, and that it's completely unfair and that they should have to go to more than one place for materials. Don't you know how busy they are? Well, they're in luck. Looking at the work schedule for upcoming changes by the Pilots Federation, a new entry at number 13. Let's hope they're not triskaidophobics. Means that presumably a deal has been struck with the so-called collectors to make it worth their while to return to their thankless task. So, next time you're ransacking the fundament of Dav's Hope, just spare a thought for the army of invisible helpers that have made your stroll through the materials larder possible. And do make sure you tidy up after yourself.
Now, dear viewer and listener, we have an article that's been written in dialect. We have removed the Yorkshire accent because of our lack of vocal talent, but please enable subtitles if you find this hard to follow. It's a message from Commander Rampage, and it goes something like this. On Saturday night, a few of us Hutton truckers got together in San 2 for a bit of on-the-ground pew-pew PWP. My favourite chippy was in danger of changing hands, and we can't be having that. So, shin kicking it was. Commander Christoph the Kangaroo Hanky was there leaping about. We had a great job of leaping from building to building, swatting the opposition, while Commanders Lithobreaker, Aiden, the original bastard, and me held the line and took the objectives. I'm pleased to say that my favourite chippy is still in safe hands thanks to these brave commanders. Unfortunately, while leaving the combat zone, we had a bit of an incident. Commander the original bastard forgot to engage his safety and blew Commander Aiden to bits on the way to his ship. I've heard Nurse Wyeth is putting him back together for even better than before. I mean, you always have a few bits left over after a bit of DIY, right?
The Oracle, that is the main central Hutton System State's master control panel, remains a sea of calming blue, with one small orange exception. The water filters at Yamazaki Landing in Y08555-0714 are provingly reliably unreliable as usual. Honestly, I don't know why they bother. It looks and tastes the same whether they filtered it or not. Sort of a pale brown with a plasticky, slightly antiseptic, almost metallic taste. Perhaps they can't get supplies of ferric sulfate due to the hauler shortage. However, there is a fleet carrier on station at Yamazaki full of them. All you have to do is ship them and sell them at a daft profit. Anyway, all the other systems are looking good, with everyone either happy or elated. I don't know, perhaps some folks are just easily pleased. 3 systems are below 40%. Epsilon Indy had a brief pirate incursion during the week, undoing weeks of steady growth and putting it a gnat's crotchet below 40. Treppin on 36 has minor factions in both elections and a civil war, and you all know the other one. On 34, of course, it's Barnard's basket case. The ending of the minor faction squabbling in Narnia saw Hutton put on an impressive 20 points in the week, lifting the system up to 50 and out of the doldrums. The other system to suffer a bit of piracy during the week was Wolf 124, but this passed more or less unnoticed. At the top end of the systems league, we only have 4 systems above 60, but 2 of these are above 70. Too high, folks, too high. Meanwhile, in Colonia, the High Priest of Hotcol himself, Lord Duke Hankey, asked that truckers help relieve the outbreak in Pythias by shipping in meds. Priorities this week are, if you want to truck something, boost Hutton influence in Barnard Star and Treppin. If you want to shoot something, find the bloke who keeps selling those dodgy water purifiers. Dead or alive? In fact, dead is probably easier.
Coverage now of events organised by community members for the community, which is us. As usual, links will be posted in Twitch chat and also in the description of our YouTube upload. I'd hate to see the paint job on the fleet carrier console as it continues the long journey to all 124 waypoints of the Cannon Challenge, and I bet the toilets are in a shocking state. Completely blasé about the condition of his carrier, Commander Mephisto has found time in his day, no doubt filled with massages and 7-course tasting menus to bring us this update.
On the comfy cannon cruise at waypoints 69 through 72, squid mollusks of the Rosium, Punicium, Albulum and Caeruleum variety could be added to Commander's codices. Poor Commander G-Man 14 mined a bit too much at the last mining spot and so got mesmerised by spinning rocks. He woke up nearly a week later with the cruise had already resumed course. Probably a few mugs of Centauri Micogen and Lavian brandy might have been involved, but that's pure conjecture. As his cutter wasn't outfitted for jump range and Konsu was already thousands of light years away, he spent the 35 million credits rebuy cost and a few tons of already collected precious tritium for his Remlock ride back on board. Upcoming are days of jumping, making way to Beagle Point with only 2 waypoints lying in between.
The SWS High G Summer Slamdown 3307 expedition has landed for the last time, and its participants are probably grateful for the last minute discovery of a certain KOI 17011 to continue their thrill seeking after their long range high gravity body landing tour. Commander Richard Fluanis has sent us this farewell message.
The expedition has ended. Unfortunately, we didn't lose any more planets from our list, and so managed to enjoy the rest. However, on our last expedition day, a new challenge arrived. A 45G planet that we theorised was the amalgamation of the 4 planets we'd lost made into one. Luckily, we all got the memo early, and a force of 6 of us went to have a look. Now the destination has the names and first football of the High Gravity SummerSlam expedition. After that, we did other small activities like a high G race that FDev not long ago did on stream, and with that we concluded the expedition. Prizes and money will be given by the end of the week, and based on the photographic contributions, we will probably start updating the map with new IG planets. Thank you all for coming on the expedition, and remember to meet us in the black next time.
The Wild Wild West has now left Colonia a long way behind, and as these space cowboys press on into the black, Commander Analog Kid has sent these echoes from the void. This week saw us arrive at the Planet of Death system, 600 light years from Colonia. With good timing of the planet's orbit, we gathered on the surface to patiently wait for the Planet of Death to pass within the exclusion zone of the White Dwarf, making for some epic screenshots and memories. With fleet carrier support, the event was a little less nerve-wracking for all. As a side excursion, also with fleet carrier support, many of our intrepid commanders went to the 11G planet system lithobreaker to test their mettle at landing on the planet with the highest gravity at the time, and many of us did this with great success. As we progress to Waypoint 3 this week, and further away from civilization, we are already beginning to enter large areas of uncharted space. Exciting times lie ahead, with new discoveries abound and of course lots of shenanigans amongst our friendly fleet. And lastly this week, and not just because this was hand-delivered by Cannon's lackey Paulo Rodriguez, though mostly because of that, it has to be admitted. I've got this note which looks like a cross between a ransom note made from newspapers and a drawing by your kid that's not even good enough for your fridge. But still, we do say we'll include news from anyone.
In the inner Orion Spur, about 300 light-years from Sol, ToCoSo sector AF-A D714E is a 1,000-kilometer radius rocky body with a thin carbon dioxide atmosphere that supports 9 different life forms, worth a modest 2,093,600 credits at Vista Genomics. Canon Interstellar are running a competition to scan all 9 species in as short a time as possible. They are offering some used laboratory gear and a worthless coin as prizes. Actually, the prizes are made of real metal and have some scrap value. The fastest time recorded on their website so far is LCU No Fool Like One at 5,338 seconds. But he assures us that he could do it much faster if he didn't have to stop for a poo. Make sure you carefully read the rules before attempting the task, as Canon are bound to weasel out of paying up if you don't follow it to the letter. The competition closes at midnight on the 31st of December.
And that's this week's roundup of community-led events. If you want yours to be featured, just email itookpart@huttonorbital.com and we'll get in touch.
And that was the news. Coming up is the banter section. But don't go away, as after our inane chatter, we have brand new Galnet News Digest, Flossy tells us what's happening in the land of CGs, and the apology officer confuses us with the Hutton Sports Report.
It's perfectly clear.
And we have a special music video for the end of the show. When you've had time to digest whatever your last meal was. Trust me, you'll thank us. But first, we talk.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, that was as seamless as you like.
Yeah.
Seamless!
Yes, we were good.
Seamless.
Oh, I can let me course it out now. Right. Yes. I
Even
don't know
more
who that
crowded
bloke
in here
was.
now.
Don't know who that bloke was at the end of the intro. Ugh, sleazy
Yeah.
little bastard there. Didn't like him. Ooh.
Yeah.
It's not what you said yesterday. No, stop it. Yeah, right. Did anybody...
Oh, God, it was like he was standing right behind me. Oh!
All sweaty.
Yeah.
I kind of like that voice.
Yes.
Oh, hello.
Oh,
Just ready
stop
for a
poking me
rub
with your
down.
finger. That's not my finger, dear boy.
Saucy.
Like sort of Jabba the
Lazy.
Hutt meets.
Yeah. You all know that's
Yep.
Sean's real voice, don't you?
Just
Yes.
Jabba the Hutt then.
Yeah,
Well, I
just,
was-
just Jabba the
I didn't
something.
want to say the name of the other one.
Jabba the butt. No. Oh, that with the finger. I was just Jabba the butt. Yes. Right. Anyway,
Yeah.
Frontier. That's,
Oh. Yeah, let's move on.
yeah.
So
Frontier
two-
live stream. Did anybody start to watch it?
No.
No.
Yes.
No.
Well, did anyone tune in? It says in the script. No. Well, neither did
Yeah.
I.
No.
It's not an old radio.
No.
Anyway, yes, I did.
Did you adjust your cat's whisker?
I did.
Did the cat enjoy it?
The cat was furious.
Leave my cat out of this. Yeah, Tuesday, Super Cruise news. So it's Super Cruise week
Okay.
with Zach and Bruce. I've noticed they're looking a bit scruffy, I have to say.
Really?
Well, there's this. It's this working from home thing, isn't it? Where they
Oh God, tell me they had trousers on.
In the Navy, you either grow a beard
Or you don't.
or you don't. There's no in between. Whereas they have sort of a bit of a bog brush look going on.
Yeah, but maybe
Anyway.
they were in the process of growing beards, but hadn't actually grown beards yet.
So I have some sympathy with the speaker when he says, MPs no sweatpants and Anyway, get back on topic. And apparently, Arf is poorly. We don't know precisely what's wrong with him, but he's
Oh.
Been a little
maybe you
bit
do.
of I've been
Well
following him on
done,
Twitter. He's had a sort of involuntary weight loss. Oh yes, something he
torrential.
ate. Something he ate.
bit of torrential.
Yes,
Ah.
I did say to him, at least we
I
know what
see.
it is you're not full of.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he weakly laughed back.
So
Yes.
you'll be pleased to hear, at least the plan until Frontier change it, is that Odyssey Update 7 will be released next week.
Right.
But they were a
Ooh.
little bit sort of, watch this space or that space, or, well, anyway, watch a space. You decide which space to watch. And
Yes.
the Horizons update this month as well in September for
What?
both PC and console. So they haven't
Come
forgotten about you.
on. They've done something for the console. Well, they were listening. They were obviously listening to the show last week.
Well, it could be
Or was it the week
confusing because it
before?
says
I
it's
don't know.
bringing into Horizons some of the quality of life updates. Whatever that means. Does anybody know what that means? What's quality of life? Is it?
Quality of life are usually the little things, aren't they? When they fix a menu or fix the lighting in your cockpit or
Okay.
and make something easier or better. Just small things, not game-changing things, but just nice things. Things that you just go, oh, that's nice. So,
Right.
yeah.
So
that'll
you
be
Prettiness
drive your
things,
SLV.
prettiness, probably.
Okay.
Sometimes prettiness, sometimes convenientness, and sometimes it's just it's just a thing that works better, or they found a way to make it a wee bit better.
Well,
or,
I'll tell you
know.
what. When it drops, because we're in the boiling frog territory here with Odyssey, because there've been so many updates, we kind of forgot what it was like at the beginning. You can tell us what some of these quality of life updates were. when they
Yes.
went.
Well, I'm sure they'll be on the patch notes.
Well, they will, but that's,
They'll do a separate bit for. I'm sure they'll do a separate bit for Horizons.
yes.
So that'll probably help out with that as well. I think there'll be things that are generally kind of noticeable, but maybe only a week down the line when you do something, you go, that's different. So yeah, I'll be interested to see the patch notes. I'm excited for that.
Yeah. So Rex says they want to add module slots from 120 to 200 and bookmarks limit somewhere there.
Do you know when I said quality of life was interesting, folks? I never used that much.
I
Different
think-
definition of life. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. But bookmarks, I kind of clear mine out regularly, so I don't have too many. But I can see how some people would like that.
Well, I clear mine out
Surviving enough.
occasionally after I mash the keyboard because it won't bookmark something,
Yeah.
and then I
on
realise
me.
that I filled them all up, so I have to go and delete a few.
I usually fill a few up if I'm out exploring. I'll fill a few up, and then when I go home, I need to clear them. Or if I'm doing a community goal,
Well, I
I'll
tend
get
to
about 3 weeks
bookmark.
down the line. I'll go, why did I
Bookmark
get that
community
bookmarked?"
goals and the source stations.
Yeah.
And then 2 or 3 CGs later, I've still got all the last few.
Yes, I do that as well. And
Put stars in
modules.
front so they're at the top of the list.
When I was
module
going around the
storage
galaxy-
as well, I tend to just get to a stage and go, why have I got 6? Why have I got 6 detailed surface scanners?
Because
None
the
of them are
better
engineered.
ones,
None of them are engineered. Let's get rid of them. The better ones are actually on ships, so
So get rid of the old ones.
yeah, that's what I have to do. But
So when I was going
but
around the
that's-
galaxy about every 1,000 light years, because I was doing economical mode, I would kind of go out in roughly, I'd have a bookmark that was 40,000 light years out in the distance somewhere, and I would just line up the gal map and put a bookmark 1,000 light years out. So I still had most of those. So you can kind of a very rough path around the galaxy. So I've been sort of weeding those out as I find new stuff to bookmark. Anyway, what does it go up to? Is it 200? 120 to 200,
yeah.
I think it increases to.
probably
Anyway, that'll be
22.
useful.
I think they're doubling it, aren't they?
So I can have a real load of clutter before I need to get rid of it.
Yep.
But going back to the live stream, the beat of it, not most of it, because it was probably the middle third, was going through the issue tracker that they highlighted about a month ago, and by the it's not Harry Potter, is it Harry Balzac? By
done.
the magic vested.
Done.
There you go. A link will appear in the chat to the issue tracker. Anyway, Amelia, what does the next line on the script say?
It's naughty.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No.
Oh yeah, okay. Cupid stunts. I read that wrong.
Yes.
Yep, yep.
So they're not stupid, right?
That was the name of the Kenny Everett character.
It was.
And he was in drag. Yes.
Only the best possible taste.
Yes.
Oh, is that what?
Yeah,
is
that was
what
Cupid
name
Stunt. That was.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
So Bruce, well, Zach as well, I suppose, is appealing for people doing Cupid stunts. So elite sports streamers out there. So doing silly things like, flying through the mail slot sideways in your Anaconda FA off SRV tricks, even on-foot tricks. And they want to do a sort of a compilation of people doing silly stunts within the game. And they're going to post on the forum about it, advertising that. And then,
See, I read that stupid.
well,
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
That's it.
Yeah, we know.
The usual one.
That's not why we got you to read it. No.
I would like to say that one that we thought Amelia was going to say. We'd like to say that, but I like to say it in the internet, surely. Let's not risk it.
Let's not risk it.
So they also said that it's Thursday today, isn't it? Oh yeah, it's the radio show today, isn't it? Yeah, Thursday live stream was going to be a bit of a round table on sort of the game narrative lore, if you like.
Yeah.
And I didn't see it tonight because I was doing other things like getting ready for the show and having dinner and stuff. But I'll probably watch it tomorrow. So they're having a round table with Commanders Malik VR, Psychit, and Grinning Crow. I think they were planning to have. Don't know if anybody caught any of that before the show. No.
I've heard the Grinning Crow. Certainly heard the Malik.
I did see them. Did see them put out the call for papers, as it were. And a lot of us did put Wotherspoon forward, but Peter felt that maybe his take on the Galaxy's lore would not actually be aligned with the others. Damn sight funnier, but
So you remember before the start of the show when we were just getting ready before we came on air, when we were sort of extracting elbows from each other's armpits and chins, and we were talking about things being very last minute and how people like to work and do things that they like to work under pressure by doing things.
Yes.
Well, on the bus style, as you said, I think.
yeah, homework on the bus. I got a message from Lord Darth Hankey himself, 3 minutes too late. So if you remember the BGS, we said work in Pythia as well. He wants us to work in Tier as well.
Oh, it's always Tier.
Next week, send it on time.
It'll all end in Tier.
Starts in Tier, ends in Tier.
Get one of your clones to send it in on time.
Yeah.
Anyway. What's that? Oh, somebody's changed the word.
Yes, because this is the correct one. You say, I looked it up.
What is it? What does that say, Amelia?
Ant bear.
And do you know what an ant bear is? It's another name. Another name for an aardvark.
Aardvark.
Already. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else before we aardvark ourselves?
No, I think we can ant bear off.
Well, as they say, aardvark never killed anyone. Really? That's your attitude? Right, it's back to Dyson with death next week.
Oh, God. And
talking of death-dealing, pirate-scaring, pan-wielding maniacs, it's over to Flossy with the CG News.
It's Flossy. It's Flossy. It's Flossy. It's Flossy. And the community goes.
Hello, Flossy here with this week's Community Goals News. Last week's CG support Neomedical Industries on the Onion Head project. It finished just short of Tier 4 with over 21 million units collected. As Tier 3 was reached, Neomedical Industries will have enough resources to make this medically certified onion head gamma strain available at approximately 15% of independent industrial economies, as well as 15% of industrial economies in alliance systems. The Protect deliveries for Neomedical Industries finished just short of Tier 3 with over 30 billion credits earned. Decals were awarded to all participants who finished in top 75% or higher, and Onion Head paint job also went to top 10% and higher. This week's new CGs. Defend Neomedical Industries from the Kumo crew, or fight for the Kumo crew against Neomedical Industries. The Kumo Council has declared war on the Hethys Purple Dynamic Group for the latter's role in supporting Neomedical Industries. The pharmaceutical corporation's recent campaign in the Hethys system enabled the mass production of onion head gamma strain, scheduled to be available as a medicinal product from the Alliance and independent markets. The drug is currently distributed in a handful of anarchy systems by the Kumo Crew syndicates. CEO Alwyn Kendrick broadcast a call for help. This terrifying attack by the galaxy's most vicious pirates may pressure investors to withdraw, causing the entire project to collapse. If so, the vital materials that pirates delivered will be wasted. To prevent this, we urgently require support for our corporate partners against these criminals. The Hethys Purple Dynamic Group intends to ensure the scheduled distribution of onion head gamma strain as a medicinal commodity from alliance and independent markets. It has offered rewards to pilots who help fend off the pirate assault. Combat bonds can be delivered to Crippen Port in the Hethys system. As hostilities erupted in the Hethys system, Archon Delane broadcast a message for Neomedical Industries. Did you truly believe you could steal from us and survive unscathed? Now your allies will pay for your greed with their blood. The Kumo Council intends to prevent the scheduled distribution of onion head gamma strain as a medicinal commodity from alliance and independent markets. Success would keep onion head gamma strain supply limited to anarchy systems selected by the Kumo crew. Pilots supporting this effort can deliver combat bonds to the Mictian megaship in the Hethys system. The two factions have set out 7-day campaigns which will end when the top tier is reached by either faction or early on Thursday the 16th of September. To be eligible for rewards, you must sign up as an active participant before handing in combat bonds at Crippen Port or the Mictian megaship in the Hethys system. And that's it for this week's CG News.
Flossy told you what to do.
Thank you, Flossy. Let's hope you've been paying attention to those combat lessons from Alex Zuno so that
Yes.
this time next week you'll be richer than a miner with a working pulse wave scanner. Talking of characters willing to explore a rich vein, stop giggling, of news, it's time for the dulcet tones of Commander Beetlejude and the Dorset tones of Commander Wotherspoon as they bring us this week's Galnet News Digest.
Galnet News Digest, 9th of September 3307. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's news, Hutton Orbital, reassuringly expensive. Sirius Treaty to be revived. Acts. Hutton Orbital reassuringly expensive.
Following its recent win over Recon Construction, the new headquarters of Torval Mostopolis Mining has opened its doors in LTT 198. Situated in a picturesque spot near to a planetary ring, Hutton Orbital is a well-appointed Orbis starport, with beautifully manicured lawns and fake lakes, and it wears its imperial origins proudly. Constantia Torval, daughter of Senator Zemina, will be managing the day-to-day operation of the new corporation, which has been set up after an unspecified rift between Torval and the Mostopolis dynasty, which is headed up by Mostopolis Mining's CEO Gabriella Mostopolis. It's not clear whether Senator Torval still holds a majority shareholding in the parent company, but members of the Mostopolis board have made scathing comments about Constantia Torval's business acumen, and CEO Gabriella has accused the new corporation of hijacking her company's name. The Torval dynasty seems to be establishing quite a presence within the empire. In addition to Constantia heading up the new corporation, Zemina's youngest daughter Petra has been appointed senator, and her grandson, Titus Torval, is one of the foremost names in the Imperial Internal Security Service. It seems likely that we'll be hearing more about the rift between Torval and Mostopolis in the coming months.
Sirius Treaty to be revived. Alliance Prime Minister Edmund Mann has claimed that there's still hope for Aegis despite the ongoing investigation. The Tri-Superpower Thargoid Research Organisation is being investigated amid allegations of operational irregularities and ineffectiveness following the loss of its megaship Alexandria on the 3rd of June. Chair of the Board of Inquiry, Paul Baumann, has not ruled out charges of criminal negligence, although there's little clarity about which court would hold jurisdiction over this Tri-Superpower organisation. Mann proposed a new cooperation agreement at the Galactic Summit in March. This Sirius Treaty would have guaranteed Aegis proper funding, in keeping with Mann's belief that defence against the Thargoids should be humanity's greatest priority. The treaty negotiations were put aside after the 9 Martyrs bombings, but Mann says he's still trying to persuade President Hudson and Emperor Arissa of its importance. Unfortunately for Mann, and for Aegis, neither the federal nor imperial leader seems particularly interested. Acts.
The affiliated counter-terrorism unit says it has failed to track down bomb maker Theta 7 and warns that more starport bombings are likely. In the wake of the Marlinist civil war, which resulted in the loss of political representation for the NMLA, the new leaders of the Marlinism Reformation Party have given ACT valuable information which has led directly to the arrests of thousands of NMLA activists, the confiscation of hidden assets, and the breaking up of dozens of paramilitary cells. The lack of support for the NMLA candidate for the role of Prime Consul, the Civil War, and the death of former political leader Aaron White have all led to a weakening of the position of the NMLA in the Marlinist colonies. But ACT says it has no idea about where Theta 7 is, and they have no leads under active investigation. Until Theta 7, who is suspected of having personally directed successive waves of starport bombings, is captured, the threat of more terrorist attacks remains very real.
And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News, we read the news so you don't have to.
Thank you, Commanders Beetlejude and Wotherspoon. You've done your bit. You can go home now. We'll cover the rest of your shift. You really have done enough. No, really. Please go. If you thought that was too much information to process and you just wanted a nice dose of unreality to smile inanely at, then the next few minutes should be right up your alley. If I find out who's giggling, over to the sports reports. From the Apology of an Officer.
This won't last a few minutes. Welcome to the Hutton Sports Report. The Hutton Sports Report is sponsored by the Hutton Helper, the only third-party resource to come with a free bookcase for you to put all of your lower books into. Now your cockpit is also a study. This week we have the following events. Remember the story of the pilot who got stuck 11 light years past Isham's reach and was rescued by the field rats? Special. Remember the Commander Jameson story on the logs by his crashed ship? Memorial. Remember the Golconda story? Challenge Cup. Remember that story about the whole Dark Wheel and Raxler thing? Oh, what was that called? The Dark Wheel. Sprint. Remember the story where Jack Station misjumped in Colonia was found in Pro-Am tournament? And remember the night when we listened live to a video where someone was hyperdicted by a Thargoid for the first time? Challenge. So, no turning down the corners, always finish at the end of a chapter, and don't claim that the only Elite Dangerous story is the one that you wrote or we'll tut at you. The classified results are Lydia of the Void, 220. Just for clarification, that's 220,000 light years in a week. Genix, 100. Noctivagus, 55. Spider, 38. Bograt, 220. Montgomery Python, 198. Impalamark, 120. R-Soak, 65. Caramba, 211. Goatee, 126. Mega Boomtastic, 657. Assaulted Bastard, 535. Bonnie Rig Rose Athletic, 2. Hill of Beath Hawthorne, 3. Musselborough Athletic, 1. Cambuslang Hibernian, 3. Jos Pantazi's Rovers, 2. Lave Brandywines, 2. LP 245-10 Badgers, 1. Delphi Dolphins, 2. And that's a decal for Spider. Please email itookpart@huttonorbital.com and arrange to collect your decal kit, which this week consists of a lovely cup of tea, some nice biscuits, and a copy of Fly Fishing by J.R. Hartley. Oh, and a stick-on decal. Just one wee single solitary Hutton runner this week. Commander Janix got to the orbital in 1 hour, 23 minutes and 38 seconds. Not a bad time, but Commander Hartley's record of 1 hour, 22 minutes and 20 seconds remains intact. Janix's time puts them in 51st place overall. Have you read all of the elite stories? There's quite a lot of them, isn't there? Has a memory, foam in your comfy chair, given up and just decided to stay in the shape of your arse? But maybe you need a little break. How about getting out in the fresh air a bit and making an impression on the galaxy? How, you ask? Well, here's how. Just go to hot.forthemug.com and download or sign up for the Hutton Helper before hanging up your legs and getting into it. Let's face it, anything has to be better than forgetting about the 30-odd years of stories and characters, including, but not limited to your story, that make up the lore of our favourite game. Well, that's it for this week. Back to Studio 5.
Thank you, Mia. So there's no Galnet Res Digest this week, as Amelia still has her hangover from last week's sampling of Geezer beer. But we've got something of a treat for you. Now, viewers and listeners of a certain age will remember treats. They were not covered in chocolate and a hard, crunchy shell, and this treat is just the same, except the nut is on the outside and the crunch is the last sound you'll hear before sticking knitting needles in your ears. Oh, and there's no chocolate.
My megaship brings Thargoids to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I can take you, and it's free of charge. The Gnosis brings Thargoids to the yard. They're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I can take you, and it's free of charge. I know you want it. The thing that makes me what Thargoids go crazy for. They lose their minds the way I wind I think it's time. La 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 la. Warm it up. La 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 la. The guys are waiting. La 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 la. Warm it up. La 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 la. The guides are waiting. My mega ship brings the guides to the yard and they're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I can take you and it's free of charge. The Gnosis brings the guides to the yard. They're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I can take you and it's free of charge. I see you're on it. You want me to teach thee techniques that freak Fargoids. It can't be bought. Just know, please get caught. Watch if you're smart. La 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 la. Warm it up. La 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 la. The guys are waiting. La 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 la. Warm it up. La 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 la. The guides are waiting. My mega ship brings our guides to the yard and they're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I can take you and it's free of charge. The Gnosis brings the guides to the yard and they're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I can take you and it's free of charge. Oh, once you get involved, everyone will look this way, so you must maintain your charm. Same time, maintain your halo. Just get the perfect blend. That's what you have within. Then Nick's eye will squint, and he's picked up your scent. La 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 la. Warm it up. La 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 la. The guides are waiting. La 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 la. Warm it up. La 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 la. The guides are waiting. My mega ship brings our guides to the yard and they're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I can take you and it's free of charge. My mega ship brings our guides to the yard and they're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I can take you and it's free of charge.
Oh, God, no. I think it's my job to apologise here, but really, there's just no excuse for that kind of behaviour. Can we do a bit of can we get out of here?
Yeah, it's...
Sorry, what do you say? I've got knitting needles in my ears.
I've got needles in my eyes and my ears.
And isn't that much better than the sound you heard before?
And the worst thing is they're meeting up at the middle.
There were an awful lot of crotch shots in that video as well, didn't you find?
That was awesome.
No, well, I think, Elsie, you're a very short camera person, you know.
Yes.
Obviously.
Oh, that might have been me. Oh, there we go, yeah. Crimes against music.
Dead or alive.
Yeah.
Dead's easy.
Yeah. Heightist.
Yeah. You really do have a fixation on that because all it says is wanted.
Yeah.
You just want them dead.
The chat is complaining that their ears are bleeding.
Yeah.
I love the smug look on his wanted poster.
Ears are bleeding too far, too close together, or what? You know.
Yeah. Somebody's complaining about hearing loss. No, don't complain about the hearing loss. You want that.
Somebody's ears are bleeding.
Yeah.
I
Best we call Nurse Wyeth.
Yes. She'll soon put a stop to that.
Get rid of that picture. There we go. That's
yeah,
better.
turn the key in your neck.
It's gone. Yes. Well, that was it's different, isn't it?
Yeah.
But if
We
you're
like
listening,
different.
if you're listening to
Different
the
to what?
podcast, you may or may
Music?
not hear that music. Yes. Yeah. Obviously, that was a copyright piece, but we think it's worth it. So if you've been watching the show on video and you've been complaining that there have been adverts dotted in, it's because we played that video and it's got copyright music in there. That's what YouTube will do. Sorry about that. Never mind. And sometimes it's worth it. If you got this far, it's definitely worth it.
Yes. We can assure you that no Hutton performers were paid in the pursuit of their duties.
No, I want a sub for next week if I did, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I wish I'd known. I'd have put in a 60-minute tape to record the show rather than the usual 90-minute tape.
Yeah. Are you running low in the old C60s then?
Yes.
Yeah, there's AD
C-
120s. Yeah.
Is it C60s? C30s, isn't it? No, it's a full length.
C60s, yes. And you've got to turn it over halfway through. So if you had a C120, wouldn't have had to turn it over.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're really thin, those, and they break.
And they stretched
Yeah.
the C120s.
And
so.
you use them in the car, and the car just eats them.
Oh, who ended up buying one of those short-range transmitter things that fit inside a cassette? if you got an MP3 player, there were cassettes that you could put in, and it had electronics in, and you could have a wire in it. Yeah, it would actually play. It would actually play.
You plugged your phone in at one end, and then it would turn the wheels and things.
Yeah.
Fool it into thinking it had a cassette in, and it would play your MP3 music. Yeah.
So LCU no Fool Like One says, when we get social spaces on megaships, we can do line dancing on the Gnosis.
Yeah.
We covered social spaces on megaships last week. Yes, it's all to do with the appalling whatever it was, appalling glass or something. I wrote it and I can't remember what it was called.
It's probably for the best.
Yeah, it's been blown out of my brain with those last 3 minutes.
Yeah, and Goose has put WTF. I wouldn't say what that means. What was that? I could actually feel brain cells dying. Yes. And Commander Ventura's calling aardvark and the whole thing.
And I just got a message from Ventura that he's got one of those cassette things. Yeah, well, it's lucky you've got electricity in your part of the world.
It was Abysmal brand.
Thank you. Abysmal brand. That was it. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know why I didn't think of Abysmal just now. It should have really shot to my brain.
We're going a minute past.
Well, I know, but you remember
somebody's C60 now.
But you remember on a C90, you always got a little bit more, didn't you? It was always like.
No, I suppose, yeah.
Like 91.5 or 92.
Yeah, you always had that a bit of tape for an extra half.
You needed that when you were recording stuff off the radio, didn't you? By holding the microphone up to the speaker of the radio.
Well, listen to you, your modern chat radio. You mean the wireless?
I soldered my own.
Yeah, I bet you did.
Jack plug
soldered your own what to what?
God, it was a really weird fat plug, about a 1/2-inch plug with like 8 pins on it. God knows what it was.
You should see the doctor about that, mate. You really need to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
That's not normal. A fat 1/2-inch plug with 8 bits on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it trial and error?
I bet it was.
Wire. Yeah. It wasn't. Shall we cut the green wire or the red wire? It wasn't like one of those films.
Hello, listener. Welcome to All Our Yesterdays.
So just like to point out the private communication channel from Norman, Commander Ventura. Have you seen it? He's just like a big list of aardvark.
Oh, that thing
I want to remind you that
ping,
din
ping,
was
ping,
He's typing in Twitch chat as
was
well.
5 pins, yes.
He's also shouting eject.
It could have been 8 pinned in.
No, he's saying a 5-pin din.
No, there was an 8-pin din. There was an
8-pin din.
There was after the 5-pin din.
This is. I'm calling out
stereo.
If we're arguing about 5-pin dins and 8-pin dins,
Microphones is 8-pin. Yeah, I think that we've stretched it out long enough.
And the show.
I'd like to order the chicken 8-pin din, please.
Yes. Now, the important thing is that this show may not be as long as some of them, but it means you can do something else with the rest of your evening. So it's not a total loss.
Yeah, you can go to the Canon YouTube channel and watch that video again, and listen to what people are calling music again.
Bonus.
Yeah, party bonus.
Yeah, that's not what I call music.
But you object
how many
to all
we're
the
up to in the
show music as
Do you
well.
remember about 5 minutes ago we all shouted
year
aardvark
3307.
Yeah.
How many they'd be like, now that's what I call music. 48,362.
Oh yeah, it's up over 100.
They're still doing that.
Yeah.
So
Jesus.
I would have a play with some 3D software to see if I can actually make my own one of those put up as something. Right, that's what I call Dribble Thursday.
Yes, that's what I call Dribble too. Yeah, aardvark. I'm calling aardvark.
All right, I think that we should aardvark it now because we're just stretching it out at this point. And that
gets painful after a while.
Well, it does, and it's not funny and it's not clever. I'm told so,
it will spring back and hit you in the face.
Oh yes.
Oh God, no! Please
we
don't
should
have
stay where it is all the time. I just
please
love
don't have
stretching.
nightmares.
You creep.
I could hear that tearing noise coming again.
Good night, everyone, and when you turn over, just think of me as being really, really close.
Oh, tentpole.
Oh,
Like, a buck, a buck, a buck, a buck,
I'd fuck,
a buck,
yeah.
Yes.
a buck.
Gonna say
a
it.
buck,
Do it,
a
Amelia,
buck.
do it.
For the man!
For the mug!
For the mug.
Mug?
No journey too long and no cargo too small. The profit margins never really mattered at all. We're gonna take the cargo where it's needed today. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We'll take anything, anytime, anywhere. Loading up the T-9s to the brim with rails. For the mug, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the mug. Flossy always seems to crash into the sun. Swivel likes the pilot on the Xbox One. Alvin at the front, you know he leads us well. Trucking across the galaxy, now everybody yell. For the mug, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the mug, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the mug. Give me a large pad that I can land on, and I'll give you my cargo and sing you my song. No part 22 light years to go. Cruising to Hutton, whoa, whoa, whoa. No journey too long and no cargo too small. The profit margins never really mattered at all. We're gonna take the cargo where it's needed today. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We'll take anything, anytime, anywhere. So shout it out loud like you don't even care. For the mug, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the mug, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the show. Everybody's buggered off now, so why don't you bugger off too?